As we heard earlier, we'll be getting the details of the government's travel reopening plan next week. Health Minister Stephen Donnelly telling us he hopes Ireland will be taking part in the EU's digital green certificate. That goes live from the start of July. Still no clarity as to when we will be joining precisely. Travel and tourism expert Eoghan Corry is in Madrid, attending one of the very first face-to-face international travel conferences to take place since the pandemic began. Good morning, Eoghan. What's it like after in a travel industry that's been battered and bruised by the pandemic? What's this conference like there?
It's a much smaller version of what we used to get before. It was held in January. There are three major conferences in the year. This would be the first in Fitur in Madrid, very important for the South American product. There's another one in Berlin, usually in February, and another one in London in November. So what we've been hearing is basically a lot of speculation as to what the shape of return to travel. And the very strong message is nobody is interested in a stop-start, the sort of thing we had last summer. They want to open and to stay open.
And how are they going to do that? Oh, and I can hear you. I think there was a slight drop out in the line there. What are the plans? I mean, we've been hearing about this digital green certificate. We don't know when Ireland will join. So what are the plans for that safe reopening and staying open in Europe this summer?
The European Commission have decided that vaccinated people will be allowed to travel, including those from outside the European Union, which is really important for countries like Ireland that depend on the US market, should we sign into this, as you said in your introduction. Now, what everybody is wowed by is the degree of how fast this is being progressed and the technology. It will probably be that under 16s won't be required to be vaccinated, but everybody who has been vaccinated will have a digital certificate, which will look a bit like your boarding card, your QR code, and that you scan in at the desk. That's already being used. Listeners who have flown, the very few listeners who have flown, will have used that to show evidence of a PCR test. What is likely is that if you aren't vaccinated, you will still need a PCR test, and needless to say, European countries will have slightly different approaches. Northern Europe is less enthusiastic than Southern Europe, who've been leading the charge on this. And of course, Ireland will probably row in 3 or 4 weeks behind. We will hear more next week.
Yes, and the Minister's saying he was hoping it might be earlier than late July, which was the date we've been going on up to now. What's it like there in Spain, finally, Eoghan?
The sun is shining and the regions have opened. You know, the first it was travel within Spain was curtailed because, you know, I know we had a very, very difficult January in Ireland, but Spain was to hell and back a little bit before that with a very severe lockdown. Masks are still being worn outdoors, so there is no sense that they're going to abandon everything in the chase to get tourism moving again. And of course, the very important. The aviation schedules are in place from Ryanair and Aer Lingus to start delivering large numbers of people. Not just the routes, but the frequencies as well are there in the schedules for July and August. Everybody raring to go. I think the phrase that country people would understand is Springer cattle.
Well, I envy you the sunshine from a rainy Ireland. Thank you very much. And goodbye to Eoghan Corry in Madrid.